afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark.
And I'm Zoe.
And we are the Board Adventurers, and it is racing time. We are late to the game for a game called DownForce, a game designed by Wolfgang Kramer and published by Restoration Games. Now, the arc of DownForce is a betting, racing, payout type of game. In the beginning of the game, you're going to, the players are going to auction off of a car and a power. Each person is going to have at least one car in their possession, and you bet on it by playing a card from your hand. So let's say if I took this example, and we had a yellow car with the 8 power, with just a random power. You're going to play a card from your hand, and whatever yellow car you have on that card is going to be your betting value. Whoever has the highest amount from that from all the revealed hands from all the players gets that card and the associated power. That card will then go back into that player's hand to be used for possibly another bet. After everyone's been assigned a car, you're going to start your race. So when you're finally racing the cars, you're going to be using the same hand that you used to bet. When you take any card, you're going to take the card and you're going to move the cars based from the highest color to the lowest color. When you have a wild is any color that's not already on the card. When you move your cars, you have to be able to have some sort of open space in front of the car. So you can move, when you have a car move, you can have it move forward into a square in front, or diagonally if the corner of the tile of the space that it's on is diagonal from that open space. So you can have cars kind of swerve out in front of other cars if given that diagonal spacing. At some point, the cars are going to cross. One of the cars is going to cross the yellow line, and there's 3 of them on a board. Whenever you cross a yellow line, all the players will immediately bet on who they believe is going to be the winner, the second place, and the third place. At the end of the game, after everyone's played their cards, they're going to see which card came in which position. That card's owner is going to get that amount of money based on a scale on the board. Then finally, you're going to count any kind of betting that occurs. So if that card that say came in first and you knew it was going to come in first is that position, you score that amount of money. Then you're also going to get rid of any money that you used to auction for your car. So say if you played a 6 to get a yellow car, you would lose 6 at the end of the game. Whoever has the most money is the winner of that game. And that is how you play DownForce. What do you think?
Yeah, So I do want to start with this before I start talking about whether or not I like the game. Is that for me, racing games really not my thing. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a racing game yet that I fully love. But in terms of DownForce, I think it's probably one of the better racing games that I've played. I think the betting works. It's fun. The cards here, these speed cards that you play, because it moves multiple colors, it never feels like you're out of the race.
Right.
Outside of just the betting, it still feels like you're in the whole time. It's fun. I do like the whole moving forward around cars. I think it all works. I just don't think it's a game that I'm fairly passionate about.
Right. Okay.
I don't have any cons. I can't think of any cons other than racing games aren't my jam.
Okay.
So it doesn't elicit any passion out of me, or will to want to play this multiple times kind of thing.
Right.
But what do you think of the game?
I enjoyed DownForce. I think for me the meat of the game really comes when you're racing, because there's a points where the track will bottleneck at some sections.
Yeah.
And so you want to try to get either ahead of it or to push your opponents into some sort of traffic jam, because then their higher numbers aren't going to function.
Yeah.
That's really where like the intriguing part of it is, because
The card
you
play.
want to try to like you want to try to play your cards so you can get your car ahead if you can.
Mm-hmm.
But you also don't want your opponent to benefit off of the card that you're about to play.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have like a 5 green and your opponent controls green and they're already ahead, you're less likely to play it because you don't want to push them further ahead and then into an open space.
Yeah, that's a good point. The card management in this game is pretty impressive. This is more of a card management game than a racing game because of that aspect of it.
Right, because you don't draw any new cards.
Yeah.
Whatever you have at the start of the game is all that you have.
And yeah, you are making your kind of strategy based off of that, and it kind of changes based off of who's winning, who's bottleneck. You can really lock everyone could like lock a card out of the game.
Yeah.
If it's bottleneck and everyone decides we're gonna play our cards, like if green is bottleneck, everyone can decide we're gonna play our high green cards now.
Right.
That card is out of the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because like there's like so many like those high green cards. If you get rid of those by forcing into a bottleneck, then that green's not going to finish the race at the end of the game.
Yeah, and then it informs kind of like what you're betting. I do like the betting. I will say that if you're a person who owns 2 cars that's bottlenecked in the game, and you from early on, it's kind of like I'm out of my car isn't going to finish. None of my cars are finishing the race. You can still be in it based off of the betting, and you're still in it based off of the cards. You can still manipulate who wins and who doesn't,
right?
Without having any of your cars win.
Yeah,
I do like that.
Yeah, like because like if you know you're going to be so far behind after that first turn, then you could just bet on someone else's car.
Yeah.
Provided that they didn't bet on themselves too.
That's true. And then if you go in your hand, it's like I think I can make the black car win.
Yeah.
You could just strictly bet on the black car and make sure the black car, not make sure, but try to manipulate the black car into winning based off of the cards that you have.
Right.
That works. It works as a hand management game because of that.
Right. Do you think this could be like a very good like introductory type of game for like people that want to get into racing? Because to me, it's a very simple mechanic.
Yeah.
It's just maybe the betting might be a little complicated, and you add in the powers. Because I know some of the powers might be a little confusing to do. Like I know there's one power specifically that was kind of wild. It was whenever anyone moves your car, you get to decide the path of it. So like if they don't decide the path, you decide the path. Then you don't ever have to end up in a bottleneck. So do you think it could be like
an introductory game?
Slightly introductory? Because I can't think of a game that would be more introductory racing. Because to me, like the mechanic of just playing cards to move them are, to me, quite simple than some other games.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the racing games that we've played, and they all seem to want to add mechanics to the racing to make it more interesting.
Yeah, like there's some that like use dice to move, but then they'll have specific card abilities. Kind of like Doritos type of thing.
Yeah. I think this is probably, I would consider this an introductory game because it's simple. It's card playing, moving the car. Yeah. And that's pretty much what you're doing. So yeah, I can see that. It's an introductory racing game. Yeah. It works.
Yeah, and the base game comes with like 2 different maps too. So like you'll definitely have like if you get tired of one side, you can always flip it to the other. Yeah. And then can play off of that.
Is there a con for this game that you have?
I think it could just be a little too simple. Like, I don't know, like, it's really hard to describe just because it's kind of just like color movement. Like, I think it's because we played Heat recently that I like the more complicated version of racing. But I wish this could maybe add in like some sort of like, I don't know, like car building mechanic into it. Like, what if you could build your car? But that's like we're tracking more into Heat as opposed to like doing like DownForce for what it is. Like half of this game is more of like a betting game. Yeah, because like you can try to force your car to the front, but if someone outbets you for like first, second, and third and gets all 3 correct, they're likely to kind of scale up.
Do you think the betting mechanic in DownForce is just a way to keep people who are losing early on in the game still in the game?
I could see that.
Because like the betting part of it is the least interesting aspect of the game, but it's good if you're losing the game, that you're still able to have fun with it.
Yeah, because like the way the cards are usually set up is there's a certain position where that person, like whoever owns that card, goes first, and then it's clockwise from there.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like depending on the map that you play, you might shoot out really quickly into a turn. And everyone else is now kind of bottlenecking behind you because of it, and that kind of like creates a as the game progresses, that car is likely to stay in front unless something happens.
Yeah. So the betting just kind of like mitigates that a little bit, but the betting is not as interesting as the racing card management aspect of it.
Yeah, like it adds an interesting stopping point though, like just because it's like, okay, we've crossed this. Now everyone, like, kind of pay attention. Let's all bet now on this.
Yeah.
And then that adds a little bit of variable, ending conditions.
Yeah.
But now you don't, like, coming in first doesn't guarantee you a win.
True. Yeah.
So,
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So in terms of a buy, play, wait, skip, what would you give this game?
Yeah, like both. This was a. Up until very recently, this was possibly my favorite racing game. I would bring this out for people that hadn't played a racing game, that would like be possibly interested in just like racing cars like around the track. This is a very solid play for me. I think, depending on the group, I would think this would be more of an introductory type of racing game. The mechanics are simple. The betting is pretty simple already too. It really seeing it as a long-term own and like how often you would play it has kind of wavered for me for a little bit. And I don't know if I would say this is a buy, but this is definitely a solid play.
Yeah, I hear you there. I think I would say play as well, but I'm adding a lot of caveats there. Personally, this is a skip. I'm okay with never playing DownForce again.
Okay.
But I know that I'm in the minority, and that if you've never played a racing game before, this is a play. If you like racing games and never played this before, this is a buy. I think if you like racing games, this should be in your collection. If you've never played a racing game before, this should be your first racing game play.
I would agree with that. I think if you were looking at most racing games, like say on Board Game Geek, I think DownForce should be at least in your top 3 for like this needs to be like your first go into racing genre.
I agree there.
Yeah.
Cool. So that is our late to the game play of DownForce. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Would love to discuss with you guys. I'm Zoe.
I'm Mark.
See you on the next adventure.